All right, we are going live right now on a deal. We are analyzing a subto deal right now on 300 Cox Ave, Thomasville. Got sent this deal yesterday at November 8th at 10:50. So let's go ahead and see whether or not we can analyze this deal. All right, let's do this. So 300 Cox Ave, Thomasville. The first thing I want to do is, because I don't know this neighborhood, I'm going to pull it up on Redfin, do a quick street view on everything. And let's see. Let's see if I can fit this on the screen so you guys can kind of take a quick look at it. No excuses, right? I'm going to underwrite this deal real quick on a Thursday night and see whether or not I can play with my kid for a little bit afterwards. Just going through the street view, trying to figure out if the street looks okay. Looks okay. I mean, I don't see any big issues right now. No big. All right, neighborhood looks fine for the most part. Let's check Top Hap. So I just went ahead, tophap.com. What I'm doing right now is I am checking to see whether or not the crime score is really above average. So usually 100 is the national average. This is at 111, so just slightly above national average, not like too bad. So that makes me feel pretty good at it. So let's grab the county. The county is in Davidson County, and what we need to do is look at HUD FMR. HUD FMR, when you Google HUD FMR, you're able to see that it brings you to this top link where it says fair market rents. From fair market rents, you can scroll down and click the access to small area FMR link. Once you click that, you should see a button that says look up FY 2024 small area FMRs. We're going to go to North Carolina. And I want to go to Davidson County because that's what we saw earlier. Next screen. And then this zip code, let's see if we can grab it. Zip code is 27360. 27360. And you see right here, it says the 4-bedroom at rent is going to be $1,500. Okay. At $1,500, we're going to use this number as our basis. So let's kind of come in here and plug it in. 1,500, 27360. I always try to track every single FMR so that I know that if I am analyzing another deal in the future, I can just kind of come back here and pick an old file here with the same zip code. So 1,500 is the FMR. So put in 1,500. And then the 3-bedroom is 1,230. 1,230. Okay. 230. Now, next step is I check the market rents. So when I come in here to affordablehousing.com, let's see, I put it here. Go to affordablehousing.com, you go to the owner section, and you're able to click the market rent estimator. Once you click the market rent estimator, you can kind of come here, you can kind of plug in your address, and then let's see, what was the address there? 300 Cox Ave. 300 Cox Ave, Thomasville. You can plug in the bedroom count, and you click get estimates. Once you click on get estimates, that's how you'll be able to find what the actual rent is. And you see that it says 1870. So this makes me feel good, right? If the market rent for 25 units within an 11-mile radius, which is actually a really big radius, so this must be pretty rural or suburban, or maybe there's just not that much market data for a 4-bedroom property. I'm going to write it down here so I know that if I do end up sending this deal to a partner, they know exactly what the numbers were. 1686. 1686, and then the county rent 1949. Okay, so because when I compare that the FMR is lower than the market rent, this is going to be my ceiling rent because HUD won't pay more than FMR unless there is certain payment standards that they make an adjustment for. If you are in an expensive area, sometimes folks will, certain cities will give a standard of living adjustment, such as an expensive city such as New York City, which is a really expensive area. So sometimes they might go above the FMR based off the subsidies that they have allocated by the state or to the local housing authority. So from there point onwards, we're going to use $1,500 as rent, which we've got plugged in here. Now let's see what are our details for this property. The details here are 4-bedroom, $170,000 purchase price, which we got right here. We have $159,000 subject to, which is the balance. So there is a $159,000 of loan that we're taking over subject to, which means we're taking over the payments for that property. Scroll it over here so you guys can kind of follow along. 2.875. So I get the right interest rate. 1,070.55 is the PITI. Okay, 1070. So this calculates right over here the subto principal and interest right now, and I want my PITI, which includes the taxes and insurance, to be 1070. So I'm going to do equals 1070.55 minus the principal minus the interest. And I'll subtract that. I'm going to add in a little bit extra for the insurance just in case it costs more money for the insurance expenses in order to actually do this. Hold on 1 second. The screen just went black for some reason. So 1 second. Plug this back in. Make this work. Okay. So as I go through the numbers here, if I scroll down, I still have 10% for my war chest, which is my maintenance. I'm setting aside money every single month for reserves in case like the roof needs repaired, HVAC, etc. I don't believe there's an HOA. No HOA. Okay. All right. Let's plug in our cash to sellers. So it's going to cost $2,000 in arrears. $2,000 in arrears. We have the wholesaler wants a $10,000 assignment, which is essentially a finder's fee, for lack of better words. $13,000 down. That's $13,000 down. No down payment. Let's delete that. There's something in here about closing costs, but buyer pays all closing costs. So I'm going to put in 2.5% for my closing costs right now. And let me take a look at the photos. So it came with a Dropbox full of photos. And as I look through them, it looks essentially like a cosmetic rehab. There's not things like falling apart, but you can kind of see it definitely needs a fresh coat of paint. We probably would just replace all the carpet because it looks kind of grungy in some spots. So I'm going to assume at the very minimum, before even doing an inspection, that, oh, that door is ugly. So we'll replace that door. What's over here? This is the laundry room. Okay. Kitchen looks fine. Yeah, I don't need to do any kitchen renovations. This room looks fine, just cosmetic, just painting. So I want to assume that there's some rooms with carpet. So I'll probably assume like half the home needs to have flooring done just to be a little bit conservative there. And it looks like some of the windows. Let's see if I can see any of the windows. Windows look okay. I don't see anything jumping out at me besides for an inspection unless you have somebody walking around. So, all right, let's go to the rehab calculator. And as always, we'll always leave aside $1,500 to repair the roof in case there's any issues. Let's see if I can kind of shrink this so you guys can see this a little bit better. Boom. Okay. So I'm not painting an exterior right now. If it's a Section 8 rental, I'm going to set aside $500 to do some cleanup of the yard expenses. And as I go down, I'm going to put in my paint based on the square footage. This home is, let's see, do I have a square footage in here? Square footage, 2,377. So 2,377. I'm going to assume half the property needs flooring. So I'm going to divide that by 2. 2,377 divided by 2 is 1,189 roughly. I'm not doing anything else. Are there any doors I need to do? New interior doors. New interior doors, 15 square. I think we only need like one exterior door. Exterior front door, single door with hardware and deadbolt. All right, maybe we'll replace the front door for $1,500. All right, that's my number for now. I'm assuming when the water heater is fine. I'm assuming there's no termite issues, and this is going to be a $25,000 rehab. So what does it result in for me right now. So at my best case scenario, if I buy this property at $170,000, assuming I pay 100, I'm assuming I take over a subject to loan at $159,000 at 2.875%. This gets me a roughly 2.1% return on my money. Now, even though sometimes people will label their deals as, oh, the PITI is 1,087. That is not your true cash flow, because you know you should be paying some property management, because if you're in it for the long haul, you're trying to scale, and you don't know tenant landlord laws, or you're not an expert in it, something that I wouldn't recommend personally doing it. Again, this is not investment advice, but it's just something that I'm personally wouldn't be comfortable doing. 8% for property management and 3% for vacancy, assuming that eventually your tenant has to move out some way, somehow, for some whatever reason. So this allows me to get to $100 of cash flow, $98 roughly. So let's put in 98. This assumes a $1,500 rent, and now this cash on cash return is 2.1%. Now it sounds like this property or the seller is pretty set on $170,000. So what is your option to get a better deal, to get something that would negotiate better? Well, what if you only had to pay like a $2,000 sign fee because no one wants this deal? If you only paid a $2,000 sign fee, your cash flow would still be the same, right? But does that increase your cash and cash return? It brings it up from 2.1 to 2.45, so I'll put 2.5, but it equals everything. So that doesn't really affect the deal. Usually for these deals, you're trying to figure out like, hey, at what point can I make the deal a little bit sweeter? But really, because of where the numbers are and where your rent ceiling is at $1,500, you're not really going to be able to get additional room. So even though it's a subject to deal, and it sounds great that you're buying a property with a 2.875% return, I would argue that for a $50,000 cash outlay, even though if you say like maybe the renovation might be, let's see, all right, let's divide that by half. What if I was overestimating my rehab and the rehab's only 13 grand, and you somehow get the seller to take half of what they agreed to, which probably isn't likely. That will still bring you on to 4%. This is absolutely not a deal. Hence, you can see why someone didn't keep it for themselves, or why they mass blasted it over email. So typically, sometimes I don't even underwrite emails, deals I get in my email, but sometimes you usually only get cash deals. But in this case, I got a sub-2 deal, so I figured it can't hurt by underwriting a sub-2 deal, so you guys can kind of see how I would look at it. Again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments. I'm just simply doing this with you guys every single day. And let me update my file, just because I like to keep everything organized and remember when I analyze the deal. So this is not a deal, but that's okay. Every single day, all we do here is we are